Have a good day! Good day. LA Beast here. In this video that you're about to watch, if you decide to watch it, may not involve me actually eating food, but this video is about things that I enjoy and am passionate about. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you decide to continue to watch the video. Now, ever since 2015, I've been buying and selling, but pretty much 99.999% buying anything 80s, 90s, and early 2000s retro pop culture toys and games from the great marketplace that is known as eBay, in the hopes that I can preserve pop culture history by finding, purchasing, and protecting decades-old fine examples of rare toys and artifacts. And the fact that I just did that in one try is mind-blowing. And just like a fine wine that tastes better with age, hopefully these artifacts that I buy, most of the times at a steal of a price, will become more rare and valuable as time goes on. And one day, maybe I can sell them and make a decent ROI, aka a return on my investment. But in the meantime, all I do is sit here in this room and stare at my awesome things. And here today, all of us together can stare at my things together. So without further ado, let's take a trip down a memory lane of nostalgia. Ever since I have watched the 1989 movie The Wizard, starring Fred Savage, who you may know from the television show The Wonder Years, I've always wanted to add a Nintendo Power Glove to my collection. Now, pretty much in a nutshell, The Wizard is a movie about Fred Savage, who has a younger brother who's a genius savant when it comes to playing Nintendo games. And I guess they wanted to try and win the $50,000 prize at Video Armageddon. So what Fred Savage does is break his younger brother Jimmy, nicknamed The Wizard, out of a mental institution, and then they hitchhike cross the country to California, and on the way they meet their lady friend. Also along the way, they meet the #1 contender to the Wizard, nicknamed Lucas. And when they meet up with Lucas for the first time, he demonstrates his Nintendo skills, but utilizes something that has never been seen before. The Power Glove, to which he says, "I love the Power Glove. It's so bad." And then he proceeds to utilize it to dominate in the game Rad Racer, which is actually a pretty good Nintendo game. And a crazy fact about the Nintendo Power Glove is that it actually 100% royally sucked ass, as it wasn't really good at controlling anything, and 1 year after its release in 1990, the Power Glove was discontinued forever. There are two different versions of the Power Glove, one made by Nintendo as seen in the movie The Wizard, and a second later version made by the PAX Company, with the Nintendo version being much more rare, as fewer examples have shown up for sale on eBay. And every now and then, checking in on eBay over the past few years, I've been unsuccessful in finding a Power Glove. So what I had to do was purchase this metal poster of a guy wearing a Power Glove. And finally, a couple of months ago, there was actually a pretty nice example of a Nintendo Power Glove up for sale, which pretty much had one major issue that was wrong with it. And that was, even though it was stored in a nice storage locker for the past 2 decades, that storage locker was infested with rats. To where for my specific Power Glove, there actually should be a cord attached to this cord, but that was actually eaten by rats and I just touched it. And when I finally held this Power Glove box in my hands for the first time, I realized that it smelled like 100% rat piss. So what I had to do was take a paper towel and just a very little bit of water and just go over the box, just cleaning it ever so slightly. And you know what, actually, hopefully I probably have rat piss chemicals on my hands, because I didn't wash this box with anything else other than water. But nonetheless, did I pay $375 for it? Yes, I did. But nonetheless, after getting into a bidding war with somebody else who didn't care that this was covered in rat piss, for $375, I got a good deal. Now, there have been examples of Power Gloves in mint condition that have sold upwards of $1,000, and the most recent example of a Nintendo Power Glove being sold, in my opinion, in better condition than this one, sold, I believe, this December for $250. So even though quite possibly I may have overpaid for my Nintendo Power Glove, nonetheless, it is a sweet bucket list item that'd be a great centerpiece for anybody's collection, especially those who collect Nintendo memorabilia. Sweet original Nintendo game pickups. I grew up in 1984, an era when boxing was still fun and legitimate to watch, and not polluted like it is today. And back in 1988, my dad went to a Tyson Spinks fight, who actually brought me home this t-shirt, and here today in 2021, the ask price on eBay currently is $100 to $350. I feel that Mike Tyson memorabilia will always be popular, and in particular, one of my favorite pieces of Mike Tyson's memorabilia would have to be the original 1987 Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And if you want to own a copy of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, complete in box, in decent condition, you're going to be paying a lot of money. And for a steal of a price at $132.50, in decent condition, I purchased a complete in box with all of the manuals, a copy of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But the reason why I got it at such a decent price is because it was actually missing one manual, the most important one, which was a PSA public service announcement from Mike Tyson himself, wishing each player good luck and to never quit or give up. And when one of these randomly popped up for sale on eBay a couple months ago, I had to have it. And pretty much just like I had to have it, somebody else who was trying to complete their Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as well, we ended up getting into a bidding war to where did I spend $228.50 on a 30-year-old piece of paper with pinholes in it? You're damn right I did. But it was 100% worth it. Because now as I stare at my game shelf over there, I have a complete in-box CIB Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Heck yeah. And in conclusion, compared to the most recent examples of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out complete in box being sold versus what I paid, I'm pretty much par for the course. So next item. A classic Nintendo title, no doubt, would have to be Ducktales. Released in 1989, right at the height of the popularity of the cartoons, where Scrooge McDuck would swim in his money. And I'm pretty sure everybody involved with the cartoon and video game made a lot of money. Now, it wasn't until 4 years later, in 1993, that these same people thought it would be a wise idea, as DuckTales' popularity was going downhill, to release for the Nintendo Entertainment System DuckTales 2. And as you can only imagine, DuckTales 2 didn't do too well in sales, and faded into obscurity, which is why it's so rare today. And in 2001, when I was a senior in high school, I went to a place called Funko Land, where I bought a used DuckTales 2 for $14.99. It was in pretty much rough condition, but not until recently I gently cleaned all the gunk off of it, and the cartridge alone on eBay sells for $250 on average. And ever since owning my copy of DuckTales 2, every now and then I've been searching on eBay to try and find a box, the original manuals, and it wasn't until Halloween time that a few very good examples of DuckTales 2 complete in box came up for sale. And again, because these are so rare, after getting into a bidding war for $385, I can now say that I own a complete DuckTales 2, to where it sits on my trinket shelf, and I stare at it every day. Bucket list item? Check. Hands down, probably one of my all-time favorite video games across all consoles would have to be Super Mario Bros. 3 for Nintendo. And about 4 or 5 months ago now, I saw in the news that there was a new world record, or just record in general, for the most amount of money paid ever, all time, for a video game, and that was for a copy of Super Mario Bros. 3 in near mint condition, and it sold for $156,000. And the reason why this copy actually sold for so much is because it's an earlier version of the game, to which I never knew about this. And if you actually look closely on Mario's glove, it says the word bros, to where in later copies the word bros is off to the right side with the rest of the title. Knowing that I had multiple copies of this game growing up as a kid, I immediately ran upstairs to check if I had any versions of the original earlier copies, to where I did not. So immediately I went onto eBay and I started my journey to try and own, complete in box, an early condition Super Mario Bros. 3 left, and for $229.95, holding in my hands right here, right now. I am glad to add this to my bucket list of Nintendo items, which is actually pretty cool. Now, the most recent examples of a Super Mario Bros. 3 left version, complete in box on eBay, have sold on average for $150. And I guess it really all depends on the condition of the box, the manual, versus if there's a bidding war, what people are willing to pay. But nonetheless, for the condition that my game is in, I feel like I paid a fair price, and I'm happy with my purchase. And just a quick update that there is in fact a new most expensive video game ever sold, and it was a copy of Super Mario Brothers for Nintendo Entertainment System, but I'm pretty sure it was in like pristine condition, and somebody paid right around $2 million for it. With the holiday season now gone, and as we are now bravely entering into the new year of 2022, over the holiday season, specifically during Christmas time, multiple times over I've watched the movies Home Alone and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. How do you do? This is Peter McAllister, the father. Credit card? You got it. And in both of those movies, there are great collectible toys, such as the Talk Boy Deluxe, but also in the original movie Home Alone, Kevin is seen using his brother's BB gun, shooting action figures into the laundry chute. But those are no ordinary action figures, as they are starting lineups made by Kenner. To where all that starting lineup action figures made by Kenner are your favorite 80s and 90s sports stars posed in certain sports positions. Although right now starting lineup action figures are not selling for that much money on eBay, I would say for any sports fanatic, adding a couple starting lineup action figures to your collection is not that bad of an idea. My Wheaties box, it still has the cereal in it from the 90s, when Mark McGwire hit 70 home runs to become the king of home runs in a single season. And his Olympic baseball rookie card are pretty much worth jack shit nowadays. Why? Because he was caught using a steroid called androstenedione, which helped him hit those 70 home runs, hence tarnishing that record. And recently, for $6.99, only for the reason that there's a number 62 on this, because 62 is my college football number, and it's in my YouTube channel name, did I purchase this Mark McGwire starting lineup. And the most recent example of this exact Mark McGwire selling on eBay, it's sold for $14.99. Cha-ching! Right now I'm going to show you how to utilize a starting lineup action figure to make a nice little display in your collection. Right around a year ago, for $23.89, I purchased this sweet Bo Jackson Los Angeles Raiders 1990 edition starting lineup. And the last few purchases on eBay recently have sold pretty much right around the same price. Shortly after, as I was watching a Green Bay Packers football game, I was inspired to add one of these, a cheese hat, to my collection, where I paid $25. And I would like to say thank you to fellow YouTuber Iowa Retro Gamer Dad, who sent me this complete in box Tecmo Super Bowl game, which actually still has the wrapper on it. As you can see right here, on my trinket shelf, I have a nice, awesome football display based around my Bo Jackson. One athlete's memorabilia that will probably continue to rise in price as time goes on is arguably one of the best players at their sport, Michael Jordan. I would probably say that there's the most variety of Michael Jordan starting lineup action figures, but I just chose the classic Chicago Bulls red jersey uniform, and I paid $59 for this specific Michael Jordan. And the last two examples of this specific variety selling on eBay this past December, one sold for $30 and the other sold for $50. So I slightly overpaid, but in my opinion, I feel that with Michael Jordan memorabilia, like fine wine, it will only become more valuable with age. I would have to say overall that starting lineups of your favorite sports superstars of years past may not be worth much now here in 2021. So scoop up what you can now at these bargain basement prices, because you never know in 5 decades what these starting lineups may be worth. Back in 1989, when I was in kindergarten, when my mom would come home from the grocery store, I would always remember that the Gatorade came in glass bottles, as you can see right here. And when I was in middle school from 1996 to 1998, the vending machines actually popped out cans of Gatorade. And pretty much here in 2021, everything is made with plastic. On a random day when I was feeling nostalgic for Gatorade, I typed in glass bottle of Gatorade, and what popped up? I knew that I had to own one of these, because I 100% totally forgot that Michael Jordan was in fact a spokesperson for Gatorade, where there was even a commercial to where it said, "I want to be like Mike." Now, an old school glass bottle of Michael Jordan Gatorade would look sleek in anybody's collection, but at the time in 2020, I could not afford to pay right around $600. It was like a red fruit punch with a blue label Michael Jordan on it. Now, besides that pristine example, there was in fact an orange Michael Jordan Gatorade for sale, just like this one, but it had a whole bunch of rust on the cap, and the seller was asking $250. So pretty much at that time, I decided that it wasn't worth it to spend all that money on an expired Gatorade bottle, so I decided to sit back and wait and have patience. And a few months later, my patience paid off, as this version of an orange, unopened Michael Jordan 1992 Olympic Team Gatorade in pristine condition came up for sale, and the seller wanted $200. So what I did, I lowballed offer it right around $117. The seller accepted, and for $13 extra, I purchased this original Gatorade Michael Jordan Gatorade pin of Michael Jordan drinking Gatorade. I paid $117 for this specific Gatorade bottle, to I feel it was a steal of a price. And here in December of 2021, I could not find any examples of a full bottle being sold, but empty Gatorade bottles are selling for right around $50. And one seller who actually had all of the flavors in pristine condition is asking right around $2,000. To where would I pay $2,000 for all the flavors of pristine Michael Jordan Gatorades? No. I feel like I got a great price on the bottle, a great price on this original pin, and it's going to pair well with my hopefully not fraudulent autographed Michael Jordan Wheaties box, as you can see right here, which makes a nice display. Back in 1997, not only were the Spice Girls trending, but also this thing right here in my hand called the Tamagotchi, made by the Bandai Company, where amongst young teens, raising a virtual pet was the new thing. And pretty much in a nutshell, a Tamagotchi is an egg-shaped thing that when you actually turn it on, from birth until it died, only if you neglected or didn't take care of it, you had a virtual pet and a virtual friend. Some cool things that you could do with your Tamagotchi were feed it, play with it, give it medicine, flush after it used the bathroom, check its health, and if it bothered you or pissed you off, you would discipline your Tamagotchi. And pretty much everyone in my middle school had one of these except for me, because I didn't give a shit. I wanted to actually go outside and play with my real friends. But giving a shit and buying a boatload of these things back in 1997 is what I should have done, as when I went to check on eBay here in December of 2021, some of them are selling for hundreds of dollars, if not well over 1,000 for some of the more limited edition Tamagotchi. Now, scrolling through my options of some of the more reasonably priced Tamagotchis, I found this sweet European version, which is actually original from 1996, 1997, and I liked it because it had the sweet pastel colors, and it had like a cool clock face on the egg. And the seller was asking $140 or best offer. I put in an offer right around $115 to where I'm owning this sweet Tamagotchi here in 2021. And the only other European example that semi-resembled this one sold for $89. So, you know what? I feel like I added a cool piece of 90s pop culture to my collection, and I am happy with my purchase. Right around 2 years ago, I made a video entitled The Best-Selling Toys of the 80s and 90s. And in that video, I shared some of the real Ghostbuster toys made by Kenner from 1986. And since then, I've added to my overall Ghostbuster collection. Now, I'm pretty sure the majority of people can say that the last year and a half or so has not been so great, as many things have been canceled and or postponed, such as the making of the movie Ghostbusters Afterlife. And here in the year 2021, finally, the new Ghostbusters movie Afterlife was able to be released. And if you're actually lucky enough to attend the premiere, they were handing out very limited edition plastic bottles of Hi-C Ecto Cooler to where, as you can see on the back, it is not for resale. Now, I was immediately intrigued on how to obtain one of these bottles, and after reading an article, I found out it was actually pretty simple. All you had to do was follow Hi-C and Ghostbusters on Twitter and Instagram, and boom, voila, you were entered to win the contest. And literally the next day from Hi-C's Twitter account, I received this message that I was one of the lucky few that would be able to admire and look at all day like I do this sweet limited edition Hi-C Ecto Cooler. And when it actually did arrive, I was surprised to see that it came in this collectible box that people at the movie premiere did not receive. Now, because these are so limited, and I'm not quite sure how many actually exist, I went on eBay to try and see if people were buying and selling them, and just the individual bottles have been selling on average for $250, and examples with the bottle and the box have been selling up to $500. But my two rare Hi-C Ecto Coolers shall remain encased for eternity on my trinket shelf. For some odd reason, when I was a kid, and even when I was growing up, all the way to when I went to college, to when I lived all the way across the country, for some reason, my mother has always kept my Ghostbuster house. And if anybody's seen the movie The Witches starring Angelica Houston, you can actually see a Ghostbuster house being utilized in this awesome movie. Now, although I appreciate my mom because she never really threw away any of my stuff from my childhood, one thing that she did throw away was the box that the Ghostbuster house came in. And every so often I would go on eBay just to see if one was available, and if so, for the most part they were in rough condition, and people were asking way too much for them. Right now on eBay currently, people are trying to sell pristine examples of unopened Ghostbuster houses in the boxes, where those can actually sell for astronomical prices. But in my case, I got lucky because probably about 5 or 6 months ago, I snuck under the radar as nobody else was interested in Ghostbuster house boxes. So for $280, not only in my opinion did I get a pristine example of a Ghostbuster Firehouse box, tour collectors enjoy stuff like even having the original tape on the box. I was finally lucky enough to own one of these boxes, but in the process, I actually also bought a second Ghostbuster house, which now sits in the attic. Next item. Here in 2021, I still have all of the original, the real Ghostbusters action figures from 1986 that I played with as a kid. But nowadays, to find these action figures actually in their original packaging is hard to come by, to where sellers are asking right around $350 on average, all the way up to anything a buyer is willing to pay, as you can see with this Peter Venkman right here. And about a few months ago, I guess not many people were searching for Ghostbusters stuff, as this one collector was selling all 4 main action figures, including the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, to where each bid started at $25. So what I did was bid $26 on all 4 of the figures, and for the next 5 days, I was winning the auction, to where I thought in my head I'm going to get away with the steal of the century by purchasing all 4 of these at a steal of a price. And then pretty much 5 long days of waiting with 15 minutes left in each of the auctions, shit hit the fan. And right there in front of my eyes, the first 2 action figures sold for over $500 a piece. So first off, in my mind, I was thinking, what the fuck? And then secondly, I thought to myself that I had patiently waited 5 days and I wasn't going to lose on these last 2 auctions. And I was lucky enough to win this Stay Puft Marshmallow Man for $330, to where I had to make an impromptu protective case. And then in my opinion, right up there with that Peter Venkman, I was able to score this sweet Egon for $485. And even though the plastic on these action figures is a little bit faded and yellowish, that does not matter to me, because both of these shall remain encased on my shelf of trinkets forever, as they are not for sale. In addition, and some side notes here, I never actually owned a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man growing up, so I think it's actually pretty cool to add this to the collection. But I've also, if you can see behind me, I have completed the fright features of all 4 main characters, and Janine, the lady who worked at the firehouse. Then on average, I spent right around $80 completing the package. Here are some cool, easy pickups that I made that anybody could actually go on eBay and probably buy. And as I was legally high here in the state of New Jersey the other night, that's exactly what I just did. And as I was watching a commercial for Butterfingers, I thought to myself, hey, Bart Simpson from The Simpsons used to be the spokesperson for Butterfingers, as he would say, nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger. To where I'm going to stop pointing at the camera right now, but for roughly $25 a piece, I picked up some sweet, original Bart Simpson Butterfinger point of sale. And this specific poster that I'm holding probably sat in a convenience store window back in 1993. And this poster, as you can see right here, probably hung on the wall of some fat kid's room back in the 90s who loved Butterfingers. I used to collect sports cards as a kid, and here in 2021, I feel like the hobby of sports card collecting is taking off again, as the shinier the card, the more money it's worth. Such as, for example, one of these cards of this guy just sold for that amount of money. And as a kid, the Better Players Rookies cards, to which at the time were worth a lot of money, I was never able to obtain or buy them because I couldn't afford them. So here and there on eBay every now and then, I've been picking up some Hall of Fame, All-Stars, Superstar People's Rookies that I was never able to have as a kid. And here are some of the examples. This is one of the better players to ever play the sport of basketball, LeBron James. And this is his 2003 Flair rookie, graded professionally at an 8 that I purchased for $76. Derek Jeter, the captain from the New York Yankees. I purchased his 1992 Classic rookie card for $17.50, and it's professionally graded at an 8. Now, Michael Jordan's most famous rookie card is from the 1986-1987 Flair basketball set, but what people don't know is that Michael Jordan has other rookie cards, specifically when he played baseball. This is a 1991 Michael Jordan rookie card, graded at a PSA 7, and I purchased this for $11.75. And this photo was actually taken on July 25th, 1990, before a Chicago White Sox baseball game, and during batting practice, Michael Jordan actually hit 2 home runs. And although Michael Jordan just did this for a fun day out with the White Sox, many people consider this to be his baseball rookie card. This is a 1994 Michael Jordan Collector's Choice rookie, PSA graded at a 9, that I purchased for $15.50. And in 1994, that's when Michael Jordan retired from basketball for the first time, and he tried his hand at baseball. And although Michael Jordan was an okay baseball player, his career was short-lived as he joined the Chicago Bulls and played the sport that he was best at, which was basketball. Now this is a 1996 Flair medal of Hall of Famer Kobe Bryant, which is PSA graded at a 7, and I purchased this for $84. And this is a 1996 Finest Kobe Bryant PSA 8, which I purchased for slightly more than this one, but as you can see, card collectors today, if you can find a shiny card of this caliber, they're actually worth a lot of money. So overall, you too can own some sweet-ass sports cards just like these. Back in 1994, when I was 10 years old, when it came to music, I started to listen to alternative, grunge, and rock and roll, such as Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, and Weezer. And in my opinion, Weezer's 1994 album, The Blue Album, is genius, as it has songs such as the Sweater Song, Buddy Holly, and My Name is Jonas. And having listened to my entire Weezer Blue Album CD over and over throughout the years, I thought to myself, hey, did they ever come out with this album on vinyl? And in 2016, Mobile Fidelity did in fact come out with a limited edition release of the Blue Album. Not quite sure how many copies were made, but for $97.97, I purchased the 105th copy of these limited edition printings of the Weezer Blue Album. And the two most recent copies sold on eBay sold for roughly $50 to $75, but their print numbers were like well into the 10,000s. So for the amount of money that I paid and the printed number on this vinyl, I feel like, in my opinion, I got a pretty sweet deal. I am very grateful to have purchased from eBay, still in their original packaging, some of my favorite WWF Hasbro wrestling action figures. Legends such as Yokozuna, Jake the Snake Roberts, the great tag team of Typhoon and Earthquake, grace my wall. And next to these legends sits a jam-packed to hell wrestling ring filled with legends of World Wrestling Federations past. Bam Bam Bigelow, Animal and Hawk, this giant guy to where I forget his name, The Undertaker, and the Repo Man. And a few of these figures in this ring are from when I was a kid from my collection. The majority of these action figures are not easy to come by, as many people will put you through a bidding war of hell to try and obtain them, which is pretty much what happened to me for about 78% of the figures in that wrestling ring. For example, some of the figures are more rare than others, such as the 1-2-3 Kid, to where just the action figure itself sells on average for $500 to $800. I learned that there are two versions of Bret the Hitman Hart. One version to where he has pink glasses, to where I paid $45, and then there's another version to where he has silver glasses, and I got into a bidding war and ended up paying $112. And just about a month ago, I felt that it would be right to add Bret the Hitman Hart's brother Owen to that wrestling ring, and those aren't easy to come by, to where on average they sell for about $75, but I got my Owen Hart for $70. One of the wrestlers that I liked the most growing up was Razor Ramon, because he'd always take his toothpick and flick it at the camera as he was wearing his suit vests and gold chains. And just like he was one of the more popular wrestlers back in the day, to own one of his action figures still in the original packaging, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So what I did was decide to buy just a loose action figure, and I paid $60. But the only problem is that I was missing his gold chains. And just like any other collector trying to complete their Razor Ramon action figure, I got into a bidding war for a 2-inch piece of plastic. To where did I pay $116? Yes. But as you can see right here, Razor Ramon is at the front of my ring, showing off his gold chains to absolutely nobody, because nobody but me comes into this room. And in conclusion, my rule is, if it ain't fitting in the ring, I ain't buying it. Which isn't true, because I have more figures in the closet. When it comes to cereal, not only do I enjoy eating it, but I also enjoy collecting it. Such as this rare box of Cookie Crisps with a sweet Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bowl, to where they both teamed up and collaborated to help promote the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And in my opinion, anything Nintendo related will always have nostalgia attached to it, creating a market for its memorabilia. To where, for $299, I purchased this sweet box of Nintendo Cereal System. Nintendo Cereal System was made by the Ralston Purina Company back in 1988, to where the same company also created other awesome cereals to help promote television shows and movies, such as the Batman cereal and Urkelos featuring Steve Urkel from the show Family Matters. Now when it comes to Nintendo Cereal System on eBay, most of the times you only find just the box. And as of December 2021, an example of just the box selling sold for $102. And since I purchased this box, I have seen other examples of the box with the cereal sell for right around $299 as well. Now each box of Nintendo Cereal System promoted different games on the cover, such as Zelda, and in my case, one of my favorite games, Super Mario Bros. 2, is featured. And when paired together, like it is on my trinket shelf over there, this is a nice display to look at. Now what I have here in this envelope is not a full box of cereal, but it is in fact a cereal box from 1984. To actually find a box of this with the cereal still in it, to me, is considered a holy grail item, as over the years I've not seen any examples up for sale at all. At first I was skeptical if this was real, as many reprints have been up for sale on eBay as of late, but after contacting the seller sadly informed me that his mother had passed away, and she was a collector. So after finding out the provenance of where this box had come from and believing that it was real, I put a bid in of $139.50 and ended up winning the auction. And what I'm about to show you right here, right now, to where I've not actually seen this yet, was made famous to me by the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure as Pee-wee Herman at breakfast time was consuming some Mr. T cereal. Now, this is pretty cool. It's got some sweet cartoons on the back to where it says, "Start your day the Mr. T way." And I think right there in the corner it should have said 1984 Quaker Oats, but unfortunately that part got ripped up there. But nonetheless, I feel like I can puff this out, put it in a case, and I think it would work well with my collection. The two most recent examples of these boxes being sold in December of 2021, one of them sold for right around $250, and the other one sold for $600. So overall, in conclusion, I'm pretty happy to at least own something Mr. T related in my collection, and I feel that I purchased this at a pretty decent price. And will I continue to try and find a full box of Mr. T cereal? Absolutely. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who has tuned into this video, and to everybody who continues to tune in and watch my channel here on YouTube. Thank you. I also wish everybody else a very healthy, safe, and happy new year as we enter 2022. Before we go, I just have a few updates on some of the items that I've bought on eBay in years past, such as about 3 years ago I purchased 3 boxes of these 1992 Marvel Masterpiece cards for roughly $79, $89, and $100. And as of December 2021, thank goodness I saved this box still in its wrapper, as on average, sealed boxes of these same cards are selling for $325. I think 2 years ago I purchased a Nerf Vortex football, which howls when you throw it. For roughly $17.99. But what I have done, I have upgraded by finding a better football in better condition in the box featuring John Elway. And I ended up paying $62.62 to where I feel this is a pretty decent upgrade. And as a kid, before PlayStation 5 and Xbox 17, we used to have to play computer games. And one of my favorite computer games of all time is SimCity 2000, made by Maxis. So I'm pretty sure I paid right around like $25, but nonetheless, complete in box, I'm glad to have this in my collection. So overall, I hope this video has sparked up some of your childhood nostalgia, and maybe you can go on eBay and buy back some of your favorite toys, just like I do. But hopefully, you don't go overboard, just like I do. So with that said, I am the LA Beast. Have a good day! Okay. If that works, then that works. We're slated.